So before we start, let's start a little bit lighter so we're ready for the evening tonight. And I would love to ask Naveen and Laurent, what is your superpower? How do you keep yourself agile?
Can you guys hear me? Yes, it's working,
Just
right?
keep talking and then they will switch
okay,
it
cool.
over.
Before I jump on to Pauke's question, just a quick introduction. My name is Naveen Chander. I lead supply chain digital strategy at Keurig Dr. Pepper. Been in the world of retail, supply chain, and technology for the last 25 years. So excited to be and glad to be here. And to Pauke's question on what is my superpower, kind of what I've come to learn is, taking on complexity, like simplifying complexity. Sometimes too often we say that as a buzzword, but the way it plays out is we try to go around complexity, some ways ignoring complexity. And how do you actually change that to break down the complexity, simplify it, and build clarity for our teams? And clarity really brings capacity. So that's kind of what I've spent a good chunk of my time in terms of transformation efforts, and I believe I've gotten better over time. All right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Laurent Cohen. So I'm the SVP, just to introduce myself. I'm the SVP of Rockstar Original. I have been in the retail industry for close to 20 years, having grown probably the biggest retail companies from Fashion Nova, Michael Kors, Forever 21, and now many clients in that space, one of them being Rockstar Original. And just to answer the question, my superpower is what I actually say when I get an interview, and to hire me, I actually tell them, I could bring you from 0 to 1 million and from 1 million to 1 billion. And that's been my selling point, and for now it's been working. So I'm very excited to have this conversation with you guys. Thank you both.
Thank you so much, Naveen and Laurent. I love being on a panel with these two guys because I think they both bring a very different look at Agile. Naveen very much from having worked for really well-established big brands, and Laurent, taking it from very small to 1 million and then taking it from 1 million to 1 billion. Is just such a lovely expression, and I will never forget that after I met Laurent. So the Agile mindset, how do we, one before I forget, my superpower, you're gonna ask me as well. My superpower is really around being creative and connecting the dots. I led the digital transformation for Walmart Mexico, and we were always talking about how do we stay agile, when do we stay agile, and when do we just, are super meticulous and have one best way of operating or executing something. And shifting from one to the other, I always found super fascinating. So with that, Naveen, can you help us? How do you really define agility?
Agility. The way I think about it simply comes down to adapting and responding quickly and effectively to changes, right? Like, okay, let me break that down. I almost feel like when you study a company or like work with a company, this is what you look for in terms of agility. Adapting. Is the organization have the capacity in terms of the strategies, tactics, process, and operating model, be able to adapt. But then if you think about responding to changes quickly and effectively, it touches on a lot more than that, right? In terms of empowered teams to drive the right kind of decision making, cross-functional collaboration in terms of bringing everybody along, and being able to sense the changing conditions quickly. And those are kind of the symptoms or like things that would look for in terms of agility. As I came into Keurig Dr. Pepper 2 years back, that's kind of how I've started like thinking about transformation from a planning perspective, because I led supply chain planning for the last 2 years in terms of how do we bring an agile process. So those are the kind of things that I look for. as agility. I don't know if that's a helpful reference, Pauke.
Yeah, what you're saying is just trying to be, effective, simplifying things, and kind of really being adaptable and understanding when it's really important to adapt. And I think, Laurent, you talked about that a lot as you have been growing companies, and especially with Rockstar Original. Like you talked about every year looking at where do we need to adapt and choosing between speed, resilience, what are the things that really need to be addressed now and what are the things that we can wait and how you prioritize. And I think that really links with agility. Can you share a bit more about that?
Absolutely. So I think just to define, first of all, speed, what it does, it gets you ahead. But then when you talk about resilience, it keeps you there. So especially in the fashion world, like Rockstar Original, where the fashion industry, timing is everything. You introduce a trend, it needs to be on the market the next day. The more you wait, the more you become a lagger. And I think that's why also in terms of resilience, you need to have the infrastructure to actually support it. You have the team that could actually build that product. You have the infrastructure and operation that could deliver the product, that could do it in a timely manner. We heard in the first panel this morning that you really have, Ellen was saying from Lacoste that she doesn't really care what are the operations in the back end. The customer just wants to receive the product. And that's how it's extremely important to have the infrastructure, but to also have that speed of execution.
That's amazing. So really having the right infrastructure in place and then executing well and making sure you catch that trend. Naveen, can you talk about, you have been at Walmart, you've been at Nike, you're now at Keurig Dr. Pepper, I say it the Dutch way. Can you give an example of where you felt the company was really pushing the boundaries on operating in a very agile way?
Yeah, it's good. Like, I'll go back to what better time than 2020, right? Like, we had a exogenous event that nobody could have contemplated, and how would you respond, right? This goes back to my days at Walmart. I spent more than a decade there, and Pauke and I worked for a couple of years. We cross paths, worked closely as well. I'll give a quick example, and kind of the way I think of it is June of 2020, we have, in the Walmart scale of things, lots of product coming into our ports around sporting goods. Just think about like July 4th to Labor Day is lots of beach activity, a lot of tourists in the beaches. Like you have wagons and beach toys and all of this stuff. Like this is like loads of containers of this product coming in. They're all predetermined orders that were meant to go to the stores, that is in Florida, in California, in the New York area, like all of these things. That's the model that, like, from a company perspective, like every demand signal has been forecasted every week, day, how you replenish. There's lots of extensive data models that would determine those things. There's good processes in place to kind of collect and gather and respond to this data. And then everything changed on us, right? And you have a lot of product coming in. Travel just stopped and froze. And where do you deploy it? And then over time, you quickly saw that the stores at Walmart that you normally don't think of where you sell beach toys, like in the Lake of Ozarks or Branson, Missouri, you started seeing you're selling out of product, right? Like, and beach toys and wagons and things like that. So you knew what's happening while travel stopped. People at home are just going down to their local places and finding the time to do the family activities and hanging out with friends. You needed a supply chain and an operating model that actually can pivot. Like there's no data model that Walmart have built over years and that I myself have used over the years would have informed this kind of demand signal. But the processes that were in place to sense such demand and respond to it was in there, right? So we were able to quickly pivot and respond to where the demand was. Now, it meant this organization has the capacity to do it as well, right? The last responsible moment has to be closer to the moment of truth. What do I mean by that? Like, we could dynamically drive distribution orders up to the point it cross-docks into our import DC facilities at Walmart. That is how much of like, how close you could make those decisions. That gave you the flexibility to respond to it. And I mean, really, it worked wonders in terms of you had a record sales, obviously fueled by some of the government checks and all of the stuff, but you had the inventory deployed in the right place to the changing demand and supply situations, right? So that's, I think it's a good example of how we get it done. Again, this other part I want to drive down is like, this requires a lot of cross-functional collaboration from a planning, logistics, store operations, clear decision-making from a merchant perspective to quickly shift merchandising programs to different stores and drive this decision-making quickly to do that. And that's kind of is a good example for me. I have like numerous examples from Walmart, a corporation that's as large, that works very agile in terms of how it responds in a localized decision-making, is a fascinating organization. I still kind of, even in my current role, try to take learnings from that and adapt in terms of agility.
Thank you.
Extended response.
Yeah. We will have some time for questions from the audience as well. So, you know, get ready and think about what you would like to ask Naveen and Laurent. Laurent, you come from, you know, the fashion world and kind of really growing smaller brands to something really sizable, which is very impressive. And as such, what are some of the big challenges as Rockstar Original that require you to be really agile and to, you know, as in Naveen's example, require you to think about, you know, last minute, is this the optimal path? How can we do this even better? And making sure that you deliver the best solution possible for the company. Can you give us an example?
Definitely, great question. So, you know, like I mentioned before, in the fashion industry, timing is of the essence, and especially we were faced with a huge problem where we had UPS and FedEx that were pushing their agenda on us, and I was like, enough with this monopoly. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm not here to make you guys rich. I'm here to make my clients rich. So we had to pivot. They came to us during peak season. They told us we're going to increase the rates, peak season surcharge. It makes no sense. We're giving you more volume, but you're asking me to pay you more, and which makes no sense. During peak, they're here to tell us, oh, I have to employ more people, and so what? Me, when I have to ship, I have to employ more people as well. Do I increase my price to the consumer? I do not. And that's why I'm actually very proud to be here at Deliver, because I met so many beautiful vendors over here pushing the last mile agenda for shipping. I saw people like Amazon Shipping that we used. We were actually one of the first customers of Amazon Shipping. So to answer your question, we were agile in the approach that we gave that leap of faith to a new vendor, Amazon Shipping. We were the first ones. Listen, it was a rough beginning. We had customers receiving toasters instead of t-shirts. It happened, but with time, with the right information and partnership, we made something fantastic where we're actually saving 30 to 40% compared to UPS rates. And you know, in the fashion world, you have to always be culturally relevant, but you also have to be operationally ready, meaning you have to have the operation to be able. So we shifted, we moved everything when we did the decision to go with Amazon shipping. Now we actually embrace new regional carriers, last mile deliverers. We're trying everything that we can. We're even, as we mentioned, that I've been helping companies grow, but as you grow, you have to change also your operations. We started moving inventory with carts. Now we're going into automation. So, and to the points that they were saying this morning, we can't also always think, oh, that's it, we're introducing AI. AI could do everything for us. It doesn't work that way. AI is the co-pilot of the talent. You have to have the talent, train them in order to be able to use AI. And that's why we're introducing operations and processes that grow at a steady pace at the right cost in order to be successful. And I'm repeating, at the right cost. There's no point in introducing softwares that cost millions of dollars where you're not even using 10% of that software. You have to use the software that's going to give you the best results at the best cost. And that's what makes companies successful. Don't look at just the revenue. You also have to look at your P&L. And I repeat this to all of my clients. Make sure that your revenue and your gross margin at the end is healthy. And that's what makes you grow and maintain over time.
Thank you so much, Laurent. This is very helpful advice. Naveen, for you, and try to maybe keep the microphone close to you because I'm not sure how easy it is for you to be understood by the audience, to keep the microphone close. When you worked in the large organizations where you worked in, and you talked about this example of being very agile. In large organizations, you're often dealing with silos and people in different functions, not always understanding each other's languages. How did you deal with that, and what advice do you have for the audience to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest and the quick short answer is like we gotta resist silos at every step of the way. Siloed architectures prevent communication and collaboration, localizes decision making, and really traps data and technology in isolated pockets. It's just not gonna work, right? So the way I've approached it, and like even some of the work that we're doing right now at Keurig Dr. Pepper, is like actually bring a systems thinking approach to it, right? Like, you know, you have to think of a system as a whole. You have to believe and know that, I think you all agree, everything is inherently connected, but like you cannot go on this path of like connect everything. It's just like, it's a never ending journey. So define a system, what it is today. That could be your enterprise, and bring that system to life. And like sometimes we call it the digital twin. If it's a supply chain, we're talking about the digital twin of a supply chain. What is it? It's a data-informed model of your physical infrastructure and operating processes. That's how we think about our digital twin of our supply chain. We think about for our enterprise as a system and bring the digital twin, the next iteration of is the ecosystem, your suppliers, your customers. You can kind of continue to redefine the system, but you got to start thinking of system as a whole and work towards a connected data model that's informing you. Like at the end of it, like the second part of it is like, for agility, you're looking at speed, accuracy, repeatability, predictability, scalability. Like when you start saying all of these things, you gotta use compute. So make software the operating core of the company. And when you start thinking that way, you need data to drive software for software to make decision making and being the operating core. And the more we approach it that way, I think we will resist the silos and bring a connected, kind of break down the silos.
Okay, are we understandable? No. Yeah. Okay. Good. Before I come to you, Laurent, I just want to ask: are there any questions from the audience?
how do you balance like local agility versus having the infrastructure?
We can't hear the question. Could you speak louder?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, okay. How do you balance local agility versus like having the infrastructure for an international brand? So, do you have systems that are country by country, or how do you think about that?
It's more a philosophical question. I'll give a philosophical answer. Um, uh, in, there's very few international brands that mean the same globally. There are very few. Like Nike, yes, they mean the same everywhere. But excluding those, the Nikes of the world, international brand still has a local flavor, and you have to be relevant to local, whether it's from a strategy, tactics, operations. They all have to be localized.
Maybe one last question from anybody in the audience? Okay. What they will.
Yeah. Why don't we have a lot of Dr. Pepper in the Middle East? It's always something. I'm from Texas, so whenever I go to Dubai or Saudi Arabia, it's always like the commodity that's the, when you find it, you're like, oh my God, let me get some 10 of these. So what's up with that? Why no Dr. Pepper over there? Even though there's a lot of Texans over there.
Uh, Dr. Pepper is a primarily North American brand. It's not available outside of North America, except through some bottling partners that, again, there's a reliance on bottling partners to market and grow the brand in international markets. However, there is going to be more focus around how do we grow our international business as we have, I mean, we're proud to have the #2 share in the US now, and I think our frontier is continuing to grow, and hopefully you'll see that in international markets.
Thank you. We hope this. Is there anything you want to end, Laurent? No, good. I think. I hope this was very helpful for all of you. We're out of time. We have one other more speaker coming, and we hope you really enjoyed today and will fully enjoy the Spooky Show tonight.